The point of a yarn bowl is to control the yarn supply while you knit and avoid tangles. I have lusted after them, but I've never had one. This teapot belonged to my friend's mother, and he was clearing up her estate and wanted me to have it. And I'm not a user of teapots for the ordinary things, but I have an idea about how it could be a useful and meaningful object in my life. Let's pop this ball of yarn into it and see if it will work as a yarn bowl. This is a center pull ball of yarn, and here's the strand coming from the center. So now I want to get it up through the spout. This tool has a latch hook on one end. A crochet hook would probably do it. See, it's sticking down into the spout and into the middle of the pot. Thinking that if I can get this into the hook, there we go, and pull back. There we go. I have it threaded through the spout. Working on right now, not too important to the teapot test, but we'll just use it because that's what I'm working on, is a sock pattern that's for tube socks. And you will soon see this pattern available on YouTube and on Ravelry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And come back there. So far it's feeding beautifully. This isn't really part of the teapot test, but when knitting in double knitting, I usually do place an anchor cord, and there's no reason you can't watch that happening. It allows me some control before I can get a finger on the fabric. Once I knot these ends together, this will act like a handle. Allow me to pull the fabric down at will. And there's my zigzag cast on. And as a matter of fact, that's only the first part of the cast on. For this design, I'm doing a tubular cast on. And I'll do it real quick just because the yarn flows just as well doing this as anything else. But I have a whole video that explains the tubular cast on to work ribbing on a double board, and you can look that up. So I'll do this down one side and then down the other side, continuing the strand around. Now let's knit for a minute and see how well this yarn feeds. I'm knitting ribbing on the double board, which is so easy to do, because I don't actually have to make any purl stitches, since the ones on the back of the board effectively become purls. What I did just then, knitting over that first stitch, my personal preference is to always start with the last peg wrapped. The reason being that that anchors the rest of the row, and I can hook it over at my leisure as I am. I'm continuing to knit just as I have been, but I'm going to focus the camera on the teapot so that you can see the yarn feeding. You may miss some action while I knit, but you know how to knit. The point of this video is to test whether the teapot controls the yarn nicely. So far it's great. It's working nicely. If you ever find that you've pulled out more yarn than you want, it's simplicity itself to reach inside the pot and pull back the slack, which will help to prevent tangling. Next row. Might as well talk you through what's happening here with the ribbing. A little extra bonus. The loom is set up with an offset so that every time I wrap, I can zigzag across between the stitches. And because of that, half of the stitches face one way and half the other. Looks like I forgot to loop that one over last trip, so I'll move one out of the way. Loop over as it should have been. Now the stitch grew. I'm tightening it back up, and I think we're as we should be. Here we are, starting to knit row number 5. Looks like this is a plan. I will keep on knitting this sock, and you will see the directions for knitting this shortly. It will be called the Easy as Pie sock for loom knitters. A little bit more information. These are tube socks. When making them on a double board, they do have a seam. The video is going to include instructions to knit them in the round on traditional knitting looms set up for the correct number of stitches, and for doing it this way. The video will be on this size, a doll sock, but I'm going to have a Ravelry pattern available, not free but inexpensive, on doing it for any size human from newborn to extra, extra large. In the meantime, fish out a teapot, see if this works for you.